right, Justin and Amy, thanks for chatting today.
All
So, mass torts, what the heck is that?
So mass torts, unlike a single event case, like a car wreck or maybe a workers' comp or a job injury, anything like that, it's different because these are torts that affect several people, maybe
Okay.
hundreds, maybe thousands of people have a claim.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, the federal courts have set up a system to, instead of everybody trying to bring every individual lawsuit and have to go through the discovery process, the full litigation process, they centralize these claims and hopefully an MDL if it's created. And what that does is allows us to basically have one set of lawyers do all the discovery one time for all these cases.
Okay.
And it keeps the cost down for the defense. It also keeps the cost down for each individual person.
And what's an MDL?
A multi-district litigation
Gotcha.
is what,
Okay.
it's a federal rule, federal process that will allow that to get set up. So what happens is once these are set up, you still have an individual claim that can be it's individual, but usually these cases will settle in mass, allows everything to be centralized to keep the cost down again.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the kind of cases that we help with. But the issue is a lot of individuals, especially here in South Carolina, are unaware of certain MDLs that may be set up or new mass torts that they could qualify for if it affects them.
Right.
And if you don't know until you're too late, or if a case settles, it's over with.
Yeah. What is that kind of statute of limitations for this?
Well, that's the thing. Normally, you think there's either in South Carolina we're a 3-year state, but some states have 2-year statutes of limitations. In mass torts, really, sometimes the statute of limitations doesn't even apply. It just
Okay.
depends. But generally, you still will have us on a state by state basis, the 3-year or the 2-year.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So that's nationwide, not just South Carolina.
They could be
but that
nationwide, right? It could
everywhere.
be, yeah. When the MDL's set up, basically every lawyer, whether it's Lovely Law Firm here in Myrtle Beach and Charleston, we're going to put our cases into the MDL. It could be somebody in Tennessee, somebody in California. We'll put it into that centralized MDL court.
Interesting. Okay, so let's chat about some of these. The first one being CPAP. I've heard a lot about this. Tell folks what it is.
So CPAP, for those millions of people have sleep apnea disorders.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to have a good night's rest, a doctor will diagnose a CPAP or a BiPAP machine.
Okay.
So the issue with these CPAP cases are if you had a Philips Respironics brand, and there's several brands that have been recalled. You can go to our website, justiceslovely.com, and look at our CPAP page. There's a list of everyone that's been recalled. But what was happening is there's a design flaw where they had foam that was meant to try to keep the noise down while you slept.
Yeah.
But the problem was when you're breathing in this air through the CPAP machine, the foam would degrade over time, and you end up inhaling these chemicals. And
Yikes.
so, we're still investigating it. Some of the science says that may cause some cancers. It definitely is causing, lung irritation, some breathing issues, a lot of different health problems. So we're looking into those cases. This is a very fresh mass tort that we're looking into, but we think it's going to be a very large mass tort due to the sheer number of CPAP machines that were recalled.
Absolutely. It's terrible when you get something that is supposed to help you and you feel like you're doing the right thing for you health-wise, and it ends up backfiring with something like that.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the next one, Zantac. So tell folks about Zantac and kind of how that's used.
So we've been involved with Zantac for a while, and we've done other Justice Report podcasts about Zantac. And the thing about mass torts is as the science develops, the criteria for what will be an actionable case narrows and narrows, and that's what's happened in Zantac. Essentially, with Zantac, ranitidine. Zantac is the brand name. Ranitidine is the chemical name.
Okay.
It's an unstable molecule. Okay, and so when this is either digested, it forms NDMA in your stomach. NDMA could form in the ranitidine molecule itself during storage, during shipment, because these things are being shipped, these pills, to different distribution hubs, then to
They get hot. They're not stored cold.
right.
Oh.
The stability of it is just.
Yeah. So
And NDMA is what?
NDMA is a cancer-causing carcinogen. Its only purpose is to cause, its only commercial purpose is to cause cancer in lab animals, in mice.
Yeah.
So what they do is they inject, scientists inject mice with NDMA to create cancer
To study it.
to study it.
Yeah.
And so if this is in something, if you're taking Zantac, you're ingesting this, okay? So that's what the lawsuit is about.
Wow.
And so it's evolved over time. At first, we were looking at a lot of cancers, but just like any mass tort, science and the different criteria develop over time. These are about to go to bellwether trials, and that's essentially where these cases, the plaintiff's cases, are going to be put up to see how strong is the science is a jury going to side with the plaintiffs and give a verdict that will help us? But the cancers have narrowed down to bladder cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic, and stomach cancers. That's what the science suggests if you're taking Zantac and it's going through your bloodstream, the NDMA is being created, and that's kind of the places in the body that the science is supporting for a Zantac case.
And so a part of this case, you have to have been prescribed it, and it has to be a Zantac specifically.
Yeah. So there was a court ruling. At first, we were signing generic Zantac because you can buy it over the counter.
Yeah.
And they've actually changed Zantac. I think it's called Zantac 360. They changed it to a different formula to keep selling that Zantac brand name. But you had to have been, there was a court ruling that got rid of generics. So if you were just taking generics, you don't have a case.
Wow.
Now that could be revived. There's some talk that we're still fighting it as a plaintiff's bar to get that revived. But for now and for the MDL moving forward, it's only those people who were prescribed and taking brand name Zantac.
Gotcha.
Which, when we learned in this litigation, our little boy had severe reflux when he was born because he was premature, and so we gave him compound ranitidine for 2 years.
Yeah.
My heart sank immediately. I took him to Dr. Pham, our pediatrician. I'm like, make sure he's okay.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I mean, he was, thank God, but like so many families don't get that
Absolutely.
that luxury.
Yeah, and it's so it's scary stuff. They're about to progress to the trial phase.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of know, but we're still taking those cases. You can
Very
still get your
scary.
case in.
Okay, good to know. The next one is neck, and we've done a Carolina Justice Report story on this. So if you want to deep dive further into that, you can check that out. But tell folks that don't know what neck is.
Yeah, so necrotizing enterocolitis. We're looking into those cases if your premature infant was diagnosed with that and then developed neck and either passed away, unfortunately, or survived but has ongoing health issues and health expenses. We're looking into those cases, and that's if they were given Similac or Enfamil as a premature infant and developed neck with a neck diagnosis.
And that's issues in their stomach.
Yeah, that's essentially where their stomach develops perforations because of the cow's milk based formula. They can't digest it, so bacteria just invades their little intestines, and it's a nightmare scenario.
Destroys it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, watch that full episode that we do. We do a full deep dive into those. That's a horrific case, and that we go into more detail on that episode.
And those are still early on in the
Very
investigation.
very early mass tort. It is yet to be centralized, but we expect it soon will be centralized under that MDL system.
Okay.
When life gets ugly.